So what, Santa? You can hook me up with some fireworks.
Hello from Hawaii.
So in a matter of days, if you are on the island of Oahu, you will bear witness to what I think is the greatest illegal fireworks show in the world. Despite fireworks essentially being banned here on the island of Oahu, you will see hundreds, if not thousands, of displays of pyrotechnics. And as someone who grew up in Hawaii, I love fireworks. I grew up playing fireworks with the cousins, aunties, and uncles, and it's just part of growing up in Hawaii. But since the ban roughly 14 years ago, it's been somewhat controversial. But I want to share my thoughts on fireworks in Hawaii, particularly because probably what's going to happen is what's happened every single year. There's an amazing illegal display of fireworks. People call in, the phone lines get overwhelmed, a lot of complaining. Government officials will say, well, we need to do something about this. Maybe they'll introduce some bills or appear on the news. And then by the end of January, we kind of all forget about it. So I just want to mention a couple of things about fireworks and then present a possible solution at the end that I think it could work. It could work. That's more than just what's been done in the past. By the way, how's that tree back there, huh? 40 years. Now, personally, I'm in support of legalizing fireworks again. And by fireworks, I mean like the recreational kind, the kind that we used to play growing up. You got morning glories, sparklers, things that you throw on the ground that spin and explode. Like, I wish they'd bring those back. And recently, the Honolulu City Council passed a bill, Bill 22, that would have allowed for some of these fireworks to come back. And I was actually quite surprised that the bill passed the city council. But when it got to the mayor's desk, he decided to veto the bill, citing what the Honolulu Fire Department reasoned as safety. And they cited studies that talked about how when certain jurisdictions banned fireworks, at least the small manini kind, that there was an increase in safety and less fire hazards. And while I understand the concerns of the fire department, I would just want to know where those studies came from, because it's very different here in Hawaii when we talk about the use of fireworks. And maybe in those jurisdictions, the studies just included places where, well, once the ban happened, there wasn't much illegal firework activity, at least not as much as we see here in Hawaii. But I do think it's important to also consider the other factors that this ban has had on life here in Hawaii, not just culturally that we kind of have fireworks for our kids, but also the effects on the black market. I'm just thinking, can you imagine all of those black market sales? Tax-free, by the way. And also in consideration, I want to know the effect that this ban has had on other departments and agencies. So maybe with the ban, the fire department has seen less calls because there's less incidents. But has there been a significant increase in traffic for, let's say, the police department and their call centers and receiving complaints? What about that? And so I think there's a lot more to consider than just the safety. I know safety is very important and I'm not degrading it in any way, but I think that there are other factors, especially given the reality of what you see on New Year's Eve. All right, now the second point, and this is a little bit more practical and economical. How in the world are so many local people able to buy these fireworks? How can they afford to buy illegal fireworks? I am genuinely curious, because in Hawaii, we talk so much about how things are so expensive and people are leaving the state and I can't afford to buy one house. Yet, where's all this money coming from and where is it all going? Again, tax-free. Now, I don't know how much illegal fireworks cost. I'm just guessing that it's a pretty significant markup because it's a black market item. But how can people afford this when supposedly we live in the most expensive state and people are just struggling to get by? And the thing is, it doesn't seem like it's just the wealthy people buying fireworks. I mean, it's not just the guys out in Hawaii Kai and Kahala. This is an island-wide thing that people all over in different communities, socioeconomic places are playing fireworks quite regularly. How are they able to afford all this? By the way, we're walking in the scary tunnel here. It's one of the new things they had. Let's see how the low light does in this. And the thing with these fireworks is because they're illegal, you cannot use your credit card. So you can't get the points and you cannot swipe. You gotta actually pay in cash. Where's all this cash coming from? So my question is, can we really complain, collectively of course, can we really complain that eggs and milk and all this stuff is costing so much money when as a community we are spending a lot of money on stuff that shoots up in the air and explodes in less than 10 seconds. And of course people have the right to spend money on whatever they want. Doesn't have to be just on fireworks. They can buy new cars or bags or whatever it is. That's their right, it's their money. But I do question how financially literate are we as a population if we're prioritizing certain commodities, maybe things that are more wants rather than needs, and then we go around and complain about how things are so expensive and I'm now forced to move and foreign investors are ruining Hawaii. Okay, so what can we do about this? Well, traditionally, they've appropriated money to try to stop the fireworks from coming in, increasing inspections. Even though those things may have good intentions, they don't seem to really be working. So here's my suggestion. I believe they need to pass a bill to allow the counties to establish by ordinance a fireworks surcharge. So what that would be is basically a fireworks tax on the county level. And what the counties can do with those funds is specifically support the fire department and the police department. So they get a cut of it. So if they are in need of extra money because enforcement is so difficult or they need to have more people on duty that particular night, well, now they have this huge pot of money that they can tap into every single year. I think there needs to be some sort of financial incentive if indeed the fire department and maybe police department are against legalizing these small manini fireworks. I think you got to give them something. And I think a share, if not all, of this surcharge money, I think could go towards shoring up their departments. And it may not just be for New Year's Eve, but this money can go towards other stuff that the departments may need. And they may find that, okay, we could now enforce, we can now be more alert for like the small fireworks, because now we have the resources to help us do that. But again, I think if we don't try new things, if we don't give the department something useful, something monetary in this whole situation, I don't think things are gonna change much. It's just gonna be the same old, where again, a lot of complaints, a lot of news about it, and then by the end of January, there's not much going on. People are not really talking about it because we've all moved on. And then it will repeat again and again and again. And if you had the opportunity to grow up in Hawaii and you were able to play fireworks, consider yourself lucky. And I do. It's something that we definitely took for granted because who would have thought they would have banned fireworks here? But as I've gotten older, I'm also aware of maybe why fireworks are an inconvenience for a lot of people, particularly those with PTSD, those with pets, young kids, elderly who may have respiratory issues. They may not like fireworks, but it's hard because there's this ban, yet the ban does not seem to be working. And so I think there needs to be some sort of middle ground that culturally we've accepted fireworks here in Hawaii. I just say, why not tax it? Why not make it legal for some to play and try to crack down and provide additional resources so that enforcement can be done for the stuff that's not supposed to be done so we can all enjoy New Year's Eve. I don't know if the fireworks problem, at least here on Oahu, is out of control. Definitely not really in control, I would say, but I don't know if that means it's out of control. But one of the things that I mentioned last year when I talked about fireworks was, I think back when we were growing up, there was a lot more community responsibility where you'd only play during a certain amount of time and the neighbor would scold you if you played after like 2 o'clock in the morning, or you played too early, or you even played on New Year's Day. They just scolded you because, hey, knock it off. And so there was a lot of self-policing within smaller communities, within smaller neighborhoods. But these days, because it's basically illegal, you can't police as much. And instead of a community coming together to police certain rules within a community in terms of how to play, when to play, right now it's almost like a tattletale. And that seems to be the default, but nothing happens. I mean, you don't really want to tattle on your neighbors, right? Because you gotta live next to them. But at the same time, if the rules are the rules and you're not supposed to do it, who are you supposed to call? The police? But then if the police say, well, they gotta catch the person in the act, then not only does the problem not get solved, but now that neighbor who's playing, now they know that you called on them. So it just creates, I think, even more so community tension and divide. And that's too bad, because I always thought fireworks was something that brought us all together here in Hawaii. So we're gonna see what happens this year on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. That night I will be sleeping, and thankfully far away from all the fireworks on the east side and the west side. But good luck to everybody else who is not so fortunate to be in a place where they don't really play all that much. So happy 2025. Thanks for watching, and aloha.
Hello